Hey guys, welcome back to the Don't Settle Squad podcast, episode 50. Everyone has superhuman strength, they just can't access it yet. This episode covers how our brain limits our strength output as a protection mechanism and how to train effectively to let more of your strength out. So for this episode, 3 points on strength which are very interesting, and I definitely did not know this before I got coached in strength and ended up becoming a coach myself. Starting with the mobility and into S&C, into strength and conditioning as well, and learning a lot more about the science behind it. But very empowering and very interesting. So we'll go through 3 points here. First one, strength is a perceived threat. So the number one goal of the nervous system is survival. So the number one goal of your brain is to survive. That's just coming from evolution. And this leads into mobility training, which I've talked about before, but it also leads into strength training as well. So in terms of the strength output, it's actually controlled by your brain. It's not just like your muscle decides by itself what strength to let out. It's all being controlled by the brain. And anything that can be seen as potentially dangerous, the brain will keep limits on. So strength is a perceived threat. Strength is actually perceived as dangerous by your brain. Because if your brain actually let out your full strength, like there's some mad studies there. I think we have the strength in our jaw muscles to actually crush and shatter our own teeth, for example. And there's other examples of that. I think as well, rather than if I squeeze my tricep like as hard as humanly possible and just kept going, rather than our arm breaking, like I think it's possible to dislocate your own elbow as well in that case. So there's just like two examples where our own strength can actually be a risk to our own survival. If we think of the hunter-gatherer days, if our teeth were smashed or, we dislocate some joint, that's not going to be good. We could actually, that could be our last day and we can't pass on our genes then. So that's the number one point here, is that strength is actually a perceived threat. So once we know that and you dive a bit deeper on it, this was blowing my mind. For average people, I'll even we'll put myself in there, because the next level we'll say like elite powerlifters, okay? So like elite powerlifters are up here. Let's say gym goers like myself and maybe you will be down here the level below. So even people like myself who would train a lot, up to some decent levels, or kind of elite levels to the average person, but we're not up at the powerlifting levels. It's estimated that we're still only using around 30 to 40% of our strength. Which to me, that was crazy. Like I couldn't believe that. Just think of your gym sessions. Even yesterday was doing 7 sets of weighted chin-ups with 25 kg, just doing 2 reps. It's tough. But theoretically, apparently that's still around maybe just 40% of what I could actually do if I was in a survival moment and my brain just let it all out. Which is a bit mad. Like even if I got up the calculator and I go, yeah, like it's saying I'd be lifting up near my body weight there. So it's like, it's just a bit mad once you understand that even you at your like 1 rep max as the more average person, it's still only kind of coming out around 40% of the motor units which are controlling your muscles. And then for the more like elite powerlifters, like the world champs, it's estimated that they're up around kind of 70-80% of their actual strength that they could output. So even those people who are training their whole life, and there's one thing to be as strong as possible, they still can't even reach the full potential of the strength output that they have. So what this just shows is that, like the title says, everyone has like this superhuman strength already. So everyone has that superhuman strength, but they just don't have access to it yet. So it's in there, but it's kept as a reserve, just like a fuel reserve on a car. You don't want to have to use it. So that leads into point 2 then, because obviously the next question is, okay, that's cool. I'm using like 30-40% of my actual strength. How do I start using more? This is what we actually do with strength training. That kind of blew my mind as well. I thought we just somehow kind of gained strength over time. And then because I was so skinny and weak, I was like, I obviously don't have a great base for this. Like I don't know where the strength is really going to come from. Or I just didn't really know. It didn't really make much sense to me. But as I can see here now, I already had that strength within me. My strength training is actually just letting more and more of that out. The handbrake is coming more and more down from my brain as I let more and more strength out. So that's a better way to think of strength training is you're training your brain to let out more of the strength that you already have. And when you think of it like that, that's a lot more empowering, because now you can't think, oh, I'm not strong. You are strong. You already have that kind of superhuman strength compared to what you normally see, but your brain just isn't letting it out. That's what we actually do through strength training. We show the brain that it's safer to let out more of this strength. So the line there from, I think it was Taylor Starch, it was actually, I saw a post from his recently which was on about this, which sparked the idea for the podcast again. But his line was, building strength is a conversation with your nervous system, not a confrontation. So when you know what I've said, that strength is actually, what was the word I used? Yeah, a perceived threat to the nervous system. It's better to have a conversation with it rather than confront it and try to pull it out. So for example, if your 1 rep max in the squat was 100 kg, you don't want to be doing like sets of 98 kg, do you? Like, that's a confrontation. You're trying to force out the strength, but the brain is going to go, this is too close to my limit, this is dangerous, and it can actually reduce strength then. So a better example there would be, have a conversation with the nervous system. Your 1 rep max is 100, train at 80 kg, get in good quality, solid sets at 80 kg, not feeling like you could fall at any moment and like this is dangerous, where you're feeling solid under the bar. It is tough, but you're getting in quality reps. That will be a conversation with the nervous system, not a confrontation. And once you understand this, it does let you check the ego and to step back, because I've obviously been there before, skinny week, not sure what to do, and you think you're just going in. Like, a good example is the chin-ups. I could never do 10 chin-ups in my life, going to the gym like 10 years, and now I'm nearly doing things like 1 arm chin-up. So like, I've been on both sides of that, and I used to think back then, I think I just used to go in and try and do max chin-ups every session. Like, I think that's what I used to do, and I used to be so annoyed because I could never get 10. So I used to go in and kind of get anywhere from like 4 up to 7, and that's just what I did. So through this lens, I basically just went in and confronted my nervous system every day, like, let out all my strength, and the brain is like, no, because it's dangerous. Like, to me, I could get injured or whatever. So skipping on then through hiring a strength coach, easy way to get progress, find someone doing what you want to do, pay them, show you the quickest way there. So that's what I did, and skip forward, the 5 years, and I was nearly doing 1 arm chin-ups. But what did I do? I did this. I wasn't doing anything to max. I took the steps back, learned the form, learned about tempo, learned about all these things I had no clue about, and chased the small gains from a point of like going at 80%, having the conversation with the nervous system, and worked up the whole way, as I said, nearly up to 1 arm chin-ups. So and I've done that for so many different things. So that's why I'm making this podcast episode, for people like the younger me thinking you need to go in and smash your body. Like, it as you've seen here, it's probably not going to work. Like most things, it's always a kind of counter argument. There is some people I follow, even some great coaches that I have even kind of trained under on some of their programs, who advocate more going to failure. My brother actually does that too. My brother loves just training mostly to failure, and he is getting strength progress too, stronger than me in some lifts. So it's not going to, be as black and white as that, but in general, this is the way to go with it from my own experience. And I'll throw in 2 analogies here, because they fit for the mobility, but they fit for the strength here as well. Think of an overprotective Irish mammy. Let's say, you were drinking cans when you were whatever, and you were caught, and then they gave you a curfew. So now you have to be home before 10 p.m. every night. If you confront them and are like, no, I'm going home at 10:05, what's going to happen to the curfew? It's going to go down and down. Oh, you're home at 10:05, right? Your curfew's 9:30 now. Oh no, I'm still going to confront you. I'm coming home 9:30, 9:35. What's going to happen now? It's going to go down again. It's the same with strength. If 100 kg is your strength level for a squat, and you're trying to go 95, 98 or whatever, and then you're kind of hitting up near the limit, it might go down lower, or else you might get injured there. So you don't try and confront the limits, with your mother or with strength. That's not the way it works. You have a conversation with them, you earn the trust back. So same with the strength. If it was at 100, start doing 80 with really good form, getting stronger there and moving up that way. See, rather than going to the limit, next thing the limit comes down, now we're in trouble. That can be injury, or that can just be going backwards. Whereas if we're going here, we'll slowly be building the trust with the conversation, and it's going to keep going up. So that mother analogy was a good one that helped me. And another one was the driving instructor. If I'm doing the driving test, driving instructor's watching me, am I going to go to the limit? Like, maybe I'm a good driver, maybe I'm able to speed around and still drive safely, but what's he going to be thinking? He's going to be worried, and he's going to tell me to pull in, or he's going to pull up the handbrake to limit me. So what do I want to be doing? Driving safely, not going too mad, making him feel safe so I can keep going and pass the test. So they're two good analogies that work for mobility, and they also work for strength as well. And yeah, we'll finish up then with the last points. About kind of 3-4 minutes left here. Just a few of the practical examples. So one for me, and then we'll go into some client ones. Like, the best one I had for this was, well, I've given you the chin-up example already, but the squat as well. Like, I went from never being able to squat more than like 60 kg astrogras with chronic pain and injury and stuff. But once I did the year of mobility, could get an astrogras squat with my own body weight, but did zero strength, started the strength training properly, I literally went from squatting the bar. You know, limit was up here, and I was just so sick of being injured. So I said, no, look, I'm going to go down here. I'm going to start down here, if you're watching that on YouTube, and just slowly worked up. Do you see there? Staying away from the limit. So that's a great quote from a different coach I had. He would say, stay away from the limit to have no limit. So rather than most people pushing up here, getting injured, if you just stay away from the limit, train with good form, you're still going to be getting out more strength, but much less risk of chronic pain and injury coming from it. So I went from, and I ended up with the squat over, I don't know, year and a half, up towards 2 years, getting a 1.5 astrogras bodyweight squat. Don't think I even failed one rep on that journey. So that just ingrained all this stuff I was learning, and I saw the way forward with it then. And even on the client example, just picked out 3 random clients who I brought from overcoming chronic pain and injury and into strength training and doing this stuff with them. And like Mark, he went from shoulder issues with the gym and jiu-jitsu back to jiu-jitsu. He's purple belt, and he got up to a new PB of a 45 kg weight of pull-up, which is class. And through the same philosophies and application of the theory there that I'm saying, we weren't going to failure on any of these reps. Another great example is Dylan, actually. He was also a jiu-jitsu purple belt. I'm going to skip forward past like overcoming the chronic pain and injury onto the strength bit here. Yeah, significantly more mobile, hamstrings have lengthened, and then where's the strength? But yeah, I'm physically bigger and stronger, evident in photos taken prior to working with Mark. And then we'll skip on a bit more. While I sometimes felt the upper body strength workouts weren't particularly strenuous, after 2 to 3 months of consistency, I was noticeably much stronger. That's literally what I've just told you there about. Used to be going up here, hitting the limit, not really getting much progress. Now we went down here, solid form, solid tempo, slowly working. Your limit's going up now anyway. But again, it's just, we kind of think that's not possible, or that's not the way to do it until we start learning these things. So we'll leave it there for today. Hopefully that's changed your mind on the strength and empowered you to know that you already have the strength. You already have that superhuman strength. You're actually just training to let it out and having a conversation instead of a confrontation with your nervous system is the best way to do it. So I'll finish up then again with the Physical Freedom Program membership. 3 weeks away now. So I'm currently building that, if you didn't hear it on the last one. So it's going to include all my education programs from my one-to-one coaching into a cheap membership platform that everyone can access. So it's starting with €22 a month in December, and the price will go up towards €50 then afterwards in January. So if you join in December, you get to keep that lower monthly price forever. So that's the deal for you guys. And in the 6 sections, we got the instructions. That'll just be how to actually use it. Then we'll have the Physical Freedom Foundations, that's the education, and then the Physical Freedom Foundations program. So that's people from in chronic pain and injury, that's where you start to overcome it. That can be anywhere from 1 to 3 months depending on where you're at. Everyone will have different starting points. And then you go into your sport-specific program, so it could be like gym-related, it could be field sports, it could be martial arts-related. They're all branching out into different programs. And then after that is the S&C programs too. If you want to get into strength and conditioning, then I've basic ones all the way up to elite ones then. And that's what I was working on this week, filling out. I've finished the basic ones, I'm onto the elite ones now. So it's not just going to be the rehab programs to help you overcome chronic pain and injury. It's going to be S&C programs helping you get up to your athletic potential in your chosen sport. So pumped for that. Like I said, 3 weeks until we get going on it. So that's it for follow contact then. You got the website. Got email, guidandsettle@gmail.com, or Instagram. Send me a DM on Instagram, guidandsettle. I'll be on there every day answering questions. So that's it. Don't settle. Live true to yourself. We'll talk to you next week.